Hey everyone, it's Jess from Camera by Our Side. I'm here with Lee DeWyze. We're at iPlay America. You did a show in New York last night. You're playing in Boston tomorrow, doing a couple tour dates on the East Coast.
Yeah.
How do you prep for that?
Well, I love performing and playing, and I love seeing the fans, and it's like my favorite thing to do is tour, So before I go on the road, I just kind of, it's one of those things, when you go for a trip and you pack everything, it's just that, like, but bigger, guitars, all the cables, everything's good, and once you get on that first flight and you get to your first place and you get going, it's really just kind of routine at that point as far as having to prep for it. I mean, I'm so used to it now. I've played 100 million shows, so it's really just fun. It's just fun to get to the venue and sound check. People start coming in, and it's just that excitement. It's always fun. But as far as prepping for it, I mean, I guess I just try to keep everything mellow and I relax until the show, save up the energy, and then when I get up there, I just kind of let the energy fly.
Now, are you on a bus? Do you do like a van or airplane?
Always different.
Yeah.
It's always different. Sometimes it's just me and like my two-piece, the band and in the car, in a car, like just driving to the each destination. Sometimes it's a tour manager and the full band, in a bus or a van, and sometimes it's just flights. Get on a flight, get it. So it's always different. But for these shows, I've been doing the solo acoustic thing, and I bring my kick drum out and I do my songs, and it's really fun. I love doing it that way, but it's always different modes of transportation: planes, trains, and automobiles.
And you've been on a lot of different tours. So do you have a preference of how you tour? And I know you've done like pretty much everything, but
Not really. I mean, I just love playing like a lot of shows. If you're going on the road and it's like 10 shows but 20 days, those days in between are nice, but I love being on the road and just like going because you kind of get in that mode, and once you get in that mode, it's really, it's kind of, I like staying there. So, day off in here and there is always nice,
Yeah.
but I mean, I prefer the way I love being with the band. It's always fun to have all the guys and we have a good time. Or, sometimes my wife comes with me on tour. That's always fun. Or friends have come with me before. So it's, just having people around is always exciting. But for this one specific run, I just, was like, I'm gonna go play some shows on the East Coast, and here I am.
now you're here in the New York City area, but do you have any other places that you've visited on tours or even just on your own that you've really loved and you'd want to go back to?
Europe. I did a show in Paris, and that was a good time. And we did a bunch of shows in Asia. Those were awesome. I love Asia. I love playing over there. Bali, specifically. Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. But here in the States, I really love going. I'm from Chicago, so I love the Midwest shows are always awesome, and I love the East Coast. I mean, I love playing in New York and Jersey, Connecticut, Boston. I love the East Coast. It feels right when I'm out here, But then I also love playing down south. My music's very, conducive towards, like the South, and a lot of like, we play with banjos and bass, stand-up bass, and it's very aggressive folk kind of acoustic rock. So whenever we get to go down south, it's always fun. So I feel, I just anywhere there's like music towns, New York and Boston, like there's just people love music, and I love being out there.
Now, I got a lot of tweets from your fans that they call themselves the family, and they want to know if there's going to be tour dates coming out because people in Canada want to see you. Is there anything planned? Are you working?
We're definitely going to be going to Canada this year. It's been a long time overdue, but we're definitely going to have a lot of tour dates coming out. We actually just released a bunch of tour dates. Not that, I mean a few more, but they're going to kind of trickle out over the next few weeks, and Midwest down to Florida, Alabama, Georgia, that whole scene, and all the way up to Ohio, Michigan, and West Coast as well. So we're gonna be all over the place this year, and it's gonna be exciting because I got new music and I've been working on a new record, and yeah, it's exciting.
Now, speaking of the family, have you had any cool fan encounters or anything interesting happen? Have you been recognized anywhere interesting or weird?
I've been recognized definitely some weird places. Bathrooms are always odd. When someone, when you're in there doing your thing and someone's like, "Hey," you're like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" But they mean well. And but as far as my fans, they're like one of a kind. I mean, they really are. There's something very special about them. It's not just being fans of me, from the show. I mean, through the last 4 years, it's they've seen me kind of really get my hooks into what it is that I always wanted to do and the kind of artist I am. And I think they don't just support me as an artist, but I think they really understand me as an artist. I think they really get it. And but I always love new fans too. There's people that have come up to me like, I don't want, I don't know, but I just heard your song, I heard your album, and I love it. So to me, I consider fans, they're like friends you don't see often. And every time you see them, you get to have that connection with them, and that's what's so important about it. And they really are the greatest. They've really supported me through the years and help just drive the engine to what this whole thing is. And I appreciate them forever for that. So
something that's really big in the music industry now is social media. How do you use that? I know a lot of your fans have tweeted me, so I know that they're pretty active on that. But
yeah, I mean, social media is very important, obviously, for so many reasons. I think nowadays, this isn't like the early 90s or the 80s, 70s. You go all the way back. I mean, if you want to know what your favorite band was doing, you'd have to go to a magazine or a newspaper, or follow them that way. And now, if you want to know what your favorite anybody's doing, it's just a click of a button. So I think that it's really important to stay active on that, not just for tour dates and things like that, but it's always nice to see what the fans are thinking about. And it's nice to see when they're excited about is there a new song coming out, are there tour dates coming out, whatever it is. So it's nice to be able to interact with them in that way, to make that connection tighter, and it really broadens the horizons too. I mean, it really allows people that may not have a chance to see your show, or people that haven't either heard of your music or just heard your music, for them to kind of like follow what you're doing really instantaneously. It makes it so easy. So I love doing all that stuff. I try to stay active on that as much as I can. On the road it's sometimes hard, but I always like to tweet out like thanks for coming to the shows, or when I have a new show booked or something, we'll throw that out there. And it's nice to be able to share that information really quickly, or videos on Instagram, whatever. And if people want to, they can. My Twitter is @Lee DeWyze. My Instagram is Lee DeWyze Official, and my Facebook is Lee DeWyze. Just search it; you'll find it. And I post a lot of stuff on there about shows and all sorts of prizes and stuff. Yeah.
Now, something awesome you did recently was a song for The Walking Dead. Yeah. Can you tell us about how you got that? How that happened?
I'm a huge fan of the show. And for me, I get very inspired, kind of like I get inspired by fans. I get inspired by, of course, my wife. I mean, there's so many things in your life that inspire you. And to me, something that inspired me was the show. I mean, I was watching and I'm like, I'm a huge fan of the show. I love the show. And I kind of sat down on my guitar and started playing something. And my wife, Jonna, was sitting there and she's like, what's that? I'm like, a song for The Walking Dead. She's like, oh, like they asked you to. I'm like, no. I'm like, I want to write a song for them. And I wasn't so much sitting there like Walking Dead, but it was definitely fueled by that. And a specific episode I saw, I forgot exactly now which one it was, with Daryl or something. And I'm like, man, that was a cool scene, and it just kind of was like really dark, And I picked up the guitar and started writing, and I went through the right channels, my manager and I, and we got into the studio, we recorded it, and next thing you know, we gave it to our people. They passed it along. Next thing you know, AMC's like, hey, we love this, and we're going to go with it. And they were so awesome. And that whole team over there at AMC and The Walking Dead were, they're just great people. And it was exciting to sit at home and watch that kind of on TV. And I was like, holy crap, this is my song, So, I mean, I've had songs and shows before, like in Nashville, Heart of Dixie, stuff like that. And that's all awesome because I love being able to work through the different media outlets and get my songs in different places. But I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead. So when that happened, I was watching and I was like, this is awesome, and they used a lot of it. So it was kind of like watching a music video. It's almost like a music video. So it was exciting. That's incredible.
Now, have you been in the studio recently working on an album? I know a lot of your fans are anticipating. What have you been working on? What can we expect?
I've been in the studio working on a new record, and, I have my own studio now. And so I've worked with a bunch of great musicians, and it's just been a process of just writing. I've been writing and writing and writing. The earlier songs were like really kind of up and happy, and then as I kept going, it kind of got like a little darker, and then so everything mood changes throughout like a week. Maybe one day this happened, you're having that same thing kind of carries over into music. So for me, I'm very in the moment as to how I'm writing. So if it's, I just am. And so for me, it's just been getting in the studio and kind of writing what I'm feeling and writing, songs that I feel really represent where I'm at right now in my life, or things I've experienced or other people have experienced, and just writing songs. And I'm pretty deep into the album too. So I'm excited to play the music live for the first time and get the music out to everybody. I think they'll be surprised, and it's definitely one of those things where it's not more of the same. I definitely did some new things in this record, and I'm excited about that. And I think it's just going to be exciting to have, reactions to what it is I'm making, and I'm excited for it.
Now, if you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be?
That's a tough question. If I could collaborate with anyone, living or dead? Oh, okay. Well, let's not do that, because that's just too much. Right now, I don't think he's the kind of guy that would collaborate so much at this day and age in his life. But I think Paul Simon, growing up, Paul Simon was one of my favorite. It still is one of my favorite songwriters of all time. Cat Stevens, who just was on the road, actually, he was just playing music out again. So one of those two guys would be pretty amazing to work with. But I'm really up for working with anybody. I love co-writing. I used to hate it, because I was like, oh, this is but I realized that when I'm writing with someone else, I usually write all my own songs, but I love writing with someone else, and that's our song. I have my songs, and this is our song. And so it's always cool to do that. But living or dead, those two guys are alive. If I had to pick someone that's not alive, John Lennon would be a good one. I don't know. I always thought if I could collaborate with Beethoven. Wow. I think that would be cool. Well, now you have. Or Mozart or something. What would that be like to be able to go back and write a song with Beethoven with my modern day thinking and my music? I would love to just see what he would do with a song of mine. He's a musical genius. I'm just me. So it would be pretty amazing to work with someone like that. But yeah.
Now, something you've posted on your Facebook about is the rescuing of dogs. Yes. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I do. My wife, Jana, and I spend a lot of time trying to help dogs that need homes and shelter dogs that are going to be put down. We work with a lot of different rescues, mainly Best Friends Rescue, and Wings of Rescue out in LA. That's just naming a couple. There's so many, that we've worked with, because we're not about, sticking with one rescue. This is who, if we can save an animal, we will. And we would do we will on any given day. And my wife really is the captain of that ship. We both have a passion for it, but she's so, loving and caring and driven to help these animals that I'm on board. And she's always like, oh my God, look at this dog, it needs to be rescued. It's 11 years old. Her owner surrender. We need to it's gonna get put down. And we're in the car, and we will go pick up a dog and throw it in the back of the car or the truck, and we will find it a home, because it's one of those things that we have a dog. His name's Bear. He's a golden retriever. And do you really? What's his name?
Gypsy.
Her name, yeah. Gypsy. Yeah. They're the best, right? So, but we love our animals, and if we can help, we will. And so we go, and it's really important to let people know that adopting is okay. Adopting a dog from a shelter. I think so often people hear, the pound, and they think of an angry dog with big teeth, and it's dirty. It's those dogs need homes, and a lot of those dogs are amazing animals, and they need homes, whether it be there's so many pit bulls too that because people don't know how to have a pit, they don't know how to own them. They're and they're scared of them, or whatever the case may be. And any animal, every animal has a specific thing. There's a reason golden retrievers retrieve and little dogs bark, and pit bulls have a certain need. And it's just important to do the research before you adopt, or before you go get an animal. And just don't go to pet stores. Pet stores are the worst. Don't go to a pet store to get your dog. Visit the shelter. Find your dogs other ways, because there are amazing animals in the shelters, and you can find them. And if people just took a minute to go check it out, like they would see there's every kind of dog, and they all need homes, and you'll fall in love, and that's just, it's the best place to find an animal. It really is.